Hey everyone, today we're going to be learning how to tune the Harpejji. It is a commonly asked question in the comments, and people assume that it's difficult because there's a lot of strings, but it is very simple, and it is basically the same as tuning a guitar. So I'm going to be using a K24, which has 24 strings. The process is exactly the same if you have a G16 or a U12, 16 string or a 12 string model, just fewer strings. So yeah, let's get started. The two things you're going to need in order to tune the Harpejji is you're going to need the tuning wrench, which comes with the Harpejji when you buy it. Marconi also sells these if you lose yours or for whatever reason. You can also buy them anywhere. Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, McMaster. The size is a 3/32 hex, so standard American size. And the other thing you're going to need is some kind of tuner. The tuner that I'm using is a tuning pedal. It's what Marconi recommends. It handles the low notes really well. The low note on a K24, the lowest note, is A0. It's the same as the lowest note on a piano. So some tuners don't handle that low of a range very well. I'll put a link to it in the description, so if you guys want to get that one, you can. But any tuner is fine. I wouldn't recommend using the tuners that you download, like on your phone, the audio tuners that you download on your phone. Those don't handle the low notes very well. But yeah, you can use whatever you want. The pedal's just the most convenient. So for me, I have the Harpejji plugged into the pedal and the pedal plugged into the amp. And whenever I want to tune it, I just click the button on the tuning pedal, which I will show you guys in a second. And then I tune it. And then I click the button again and switch back to playing. So I haven't tuned this in about a week, and that is about how often I tune it. I tune it around once a week, roughly, or whenever I feel like it needs it. I'm not really doing any traveling, so I just leave my Harpejji set up in the music room, so it's not seeing a range of environments, which would cause it to go out of tune more frequently. But after about a week, this is what it sounds like. So it's not bad. You can hear it's a little bit out of tune. Generally, at least in my case, all the notes tend to flatten a little bit over time. So yeah, we'll get started. We'll start tuning it, and I will talk about how the tuning works as I'm going through it, and I'll answer some of the questions that I've seen in the comments. So like I said, I like to use a tuning pedal. It's super convenient. So I just push the button on the pedal, and now no more noise comes out of the amp. And instead, the pedal is going to register what note I'm playing. So you can see I'm flat. This should be a C, and it is a C, but it's a little bit flat. All right, so the way the tuning works, I'm going to remove this magnetic cover. You don't need to take that cover off to tune it, but I just want to show how the string is held in. So they're held down in place by these guys. And when you tighten or loosen a string, so I'm just going to tighten this guy, you can see that this hold down is moving towards me. And when I loosen it, it moves away from me. Now that string's going to be really out of tune when we get to it. So the tighter you make it, the higher the pitch. The looser you make it, the lower the pitch. And that's basically all there is to it. All right, so we'll start with the high notes. Generally, the high notes stay in tune the best, and the lower you get, the more out of tune they'll be. So all you're going to do is tap on a note. So like, for example, this G on the highest string. We can see that it's supposed to be a G. It's a little bit flat. So you're just going to insert the tuning wrench, and you're going to tighten it. Clockwise will tighten it, which will raise the pitch. Counterclockwise will loosen it, which will lower the pitch. Right now we're a little bit flat on our G, so we're just going to put the tuning wrench in. We're going to tighten it a little bit until right there. There we go. So that is an in tune G. And we're just going to repeat that process 24 times. And that is all it takes to tune the Harpejji. So I'm going to do that really quick. So this is an F. You can see it's also flat. Just going to tighten it up a little bit. Almost there. Yep, there we go. Then we have a D sharp, E flat. Now, as I'm doing this, I will talk to you guys about some other questions that come up. First of all, when I'm tuning, I like to always be tightening into the note. So let's say I were to overshoot this, so now it's too sharp of a C sharp. I don't like to loosen back down into the note. I find that it doesn't hold its tuning as well. So I like to come in from below. I'll just down tune it until I know the note is flat, and then I tighten up into the note that I want. So like this, just a little tighter, and there you go. That is an in tune C sharp. And yeah, I just find that it holds its tuning better if you come in from below the note rather than from above. Now another thing you may notice is that I am tapping the first fret and I'm not doing any other frets. You can tune it based off of any fret that you want. So for example, this is a G. Wow, this is really flat. This might have been the one that I down tuned earlier. So this should be a G. I could tune it based off this fret up here, which is a B. Doesn't make a difference as long as I know what note I'm tuning it to. Then all is good. The reason I like to use the low down frets is because if I'm tuning it to a fret that's high up, I may not see, the fretboard's pretty long, so if I'm tapping on this string and I'm tuning it, I may just accidentally grab one of the strings to the right or to the left, and I won't really notice that right away until I realize nothing's happening to the note that I'm tuning, and then I gotta fix that string. So I like to keep my hand down low so I can see exactly what string I'm working on. But sometimes on the lower notes, since the lower notes are harder to tune, sometimes I will tune those a little bit, maybe on the 4th or 5th fret or even the 6th fret, just because the tuner seems to do it a little bit better with the higher notes. So D sharp. The only reason that tuning it on the 1st fret and tuning it on a different fret would give you different results, if that is the case for you, would be because your intonation is not set properly. I've had my Harpejji for about almost 2 years now, and when you get your Harpejji, Marcotti will set the intonation for you, and so you shouldn't have to mess with anything. It's been almost 2 years and I have not had to touch it, but basically what that means is there's a certain distance mathematically that makes the notes be what they are. These fret, the distances between the frets and how they get shorter between each fret is based on math. It's not random, and based on the length of the string and everything, it's what determines what the notes are. So you can tell if your intonation is set up properly by playing a note that's in tune, like this G, and then going up to a different note, C, still in tune, G up here, still in tune. So that's basically saying that this whole string is in tune for each of the positions of the fret. And if you notice that, for example, your G is in tune down here but out of tune up here, that means you have a problem with your intonation, and that is adjusted at the top of the Harpejji. And I believe Marcotti has a video on how they do that in the shop, but like I said, it's been 2 years for me and I have not had any problems with intonation. So they set it up once for me and it's been good. I haven't had to mess with it. They do give you the tools to mess with it, and I may make a video on that in the future if that is something that people have interest in. But anyway, I will continue tuning. I forgot where I left off. So it looks like the B is good, so we're on the A now. So, yep. I will speed this part up so you guys don't have to sit here while I'm tuning it. So right around here, the bottom 8 strings is where it starts to get a little, the needle starts to fluctuate a little bit more on the tuner. And so sometimes I'll come up a little bit. So I may tune this B string on, for example, the D. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you're actually pressing on the fret and not, way down here. You want to actually push on the fret. So again, make sure you're not just tuning it until you see the green light. You want to actually make sure that the note that you're playing is the note that it's supposed to be. You can see that this F, for example, is very flat. If it was any flatter, it might register as an E. That's super sharp. So just make sure you know what note you're tuning. So this is still an F, so I'm going to sharpen it up. And if you find yourself getting mixed up, like you're tapping one string and tuning a different one, if you bend the string, you'll be able to see the movement down here, which will help you know which string it is that you're tuning. you can see these fluctuate quite a bit. There we go. And that's just due to the nature of how low of a note this is. So you can see this one started as a C, but I know it's supposed to be a C sharp. So, and I also know that all of my strings get flatter. So if you do see that one of your notes is incredibly sharp, it could just be a sharper note of a note that's half a step down from the note that you're actually trying to tune. So that's it. Harpejji is totally in tune. The reason I like the pedal is because it is super convenient. I just click the button. I can put this cover back on. I just leave the tuning wrench nearby, so whenever I want to tune it, I can. And so yeah, that's it. That is all it takes to tune the Harpejji. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. If there's something you want me to make a video on, please let me know. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.